Greetings, Patreon. Welcome back to Geekvolution After Dark. I am Captain Logan.
I'm Mark.
And this is our post-Christmas show. Not that we're going to do a whole lot of Christmas things, but that's just when we
no
happen
Christmas
to be shooting
thing.
this. Just
Well,
like, no, I have a
I
couple
have
things.
no Christmas
I actually have some Christmas stuff, but we didn't shoot a Christmas After Dark, although I don't know that we would have had a lot of Christmas things for that anyway. I don't know, it's just easier to come up with a bunch of Halloween things. It seems like...
Well, because it doesn't have to be Halloween. It's like, oh, you can do horror, you can do monsters, and you can do,
There are genres in pop culture that are,
I should make an addendum to my topic from last video about quality and age sometimes being dictated, where like when things come out. I think Christmas movies more than anything else is that. I'm convinced there are no good Christmas movies. All the good Christmas movies are movies set at Christmas. Because, like, you obviously like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, but, like, It's Wonderful Life isn't a Christmas movie.
It's a
movie set at Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anything that is a Christmas movie is never good. It is dictated by when you saw it. Whether you like it or not. Because you hate Jingle All the Way. Everyone I know that's my age loves Jingle All the Way. We all grew up with it.
I think there are no good... There may be... That I think is a hyperbolic blanket statement.
I'm not sure if the Santa Claus is good.
It's a hyperbolic blanket statement because I do think almost objectively, I mean, I hesitate saying that because, your like for a movie is subjective, but like just,
I guess
solid stories and stuff. Miracle on 34th Street is a wonderful film.
Sure.
It's not as good as A Wonderful Life, but it's up there. So yeah, I don't agree with that wholesale. And I also think that there are a number of good adaptations of A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
I also think A Christmas Story is probably technically a pretty good comedy. I just don't care for it on a personal level.
And I like it a lot.
But I think it is well made. I don't know that necessarily has anything to do with whether you were raised with it. It may.
I think it does because it was disliked when it came out. It was like that.
Was it sensibilities?
From my entire childhood.
Maybe it was misunderstood. I don't know. I don't go back to that movie, so it's hard to...
From my entire childhood, that's a cult film that not everyone loves, and at some point it got merchandised out the wazoo, and everyone... But it seems like everyone grew up with it, now everyone loves it.
Sure.
I think most Christmas movies work like this. There are exceptions. Christmas Vacation, I believe, was beloved immediately when it came out, but that was in a series, and Chevy Chase, I don't know, there are a lot of things going for it, and it's really funny.
You're right, there aren't a lot of great serious Christmas movies, but you can't say Home Alone's a bad Christmas movie.
I know a lot of people that think Home Alone's a bad movie.
I think
Home Alone didn't do well, if I remember correctly, Home Alone doesn't do well critically when it comes out. People don't like it.
That's fair, and you're right. Some of that is nostalgia. I think that there is some nice social commentary in that movie about poor parenting and stuff like that. I think it is a somewhat heightened film where it goes exaggerated.
But I had that with Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, but it takes
not about poor parenting. That movie has no idea what good parenting is.
But it takes itself more seriously than Jingle All the Way does, to some degree.
Okay. No, that's fair.
I think where it breaks down is the thing that sold it, that everyone loves in the third act, right? Like that's when it...
The Skyfall ending.
That's when it stops being a movie.
Yeah.
When you get all the pratfall humor and the traps.
Yeah.
It just suddenly it's...
I love that stuff. I love the idea that I could turn my house into
Yeah, I did too. Absolutely.
And I wouldn't have been able to.
I'm surprised
that's probably the biggest breakdown of the logic of that movie is no kid would think to do a lot of stuff he does. Right?
Yes.
A lot of that's like Marvel's on the floor, whatever, but when he's putting hot irons on doors and things like that.
He's got so much forethought. And also he's thinking way ahead. He's playing chess because he's like, well, they're going to go here, and then if they're able to get past this, they're going to make it to this part, and he already knows what certain items that they will have attached to them when they get to a certain place, so that other things will happen to them.
Because he tar and feathers them, right?
It's exactly
the first one.
What did he read, a history book? How does he even come up with
and then the second
it's not tar and feathering, it's something else in feathering.
It's
but
glue and feather.
Yeah.
And then the second one, he's not even a location he's that familiar with.
That's right, yeah. Well, see, he's got some experience now,
CJ made a great point about Home Alone I'd never thought of, which is that mom went out of her way. She used to drive with a group of fucking what are they, a cappella group or whatever?
No, it's a polka group.
A polka group.
Yes.
Okay, so she goes through all of this shit. She deals with the shitty cop who doesn't care. He is great. And she's stuck with the polka group. She shows up to see her son, right? And then what happens? 6 minutes later, the entire rest of the family shows up. She doesn't have to go through all that.
She doesn't go through all that. It's ridiculous.
Anyways.
No, you're right. It's not a great movie, but there are things
I'm
about
just saying,
it that I
I'm
really
just saying.
like.
I think Christmas movies, maybe more than anything else, is the best reflection of. Maybe there are some things that we all like. I think Jingle All the Way is going to be better remembered as time goes on because kids grew up with it, and then they're going to raise their kids with it.
How in the world did Home Alone? Well, and you know what? I will, because both of these movies have come up this year, so I will put a gavel down on this. I just feel the need to mention, to put these together and mention this now. I haven't seen Jingle All the Way in forever, but the last time I saw it, I thought it was kind of cynical. I just didn't like it.
No, it is.
But I will say, it's still better than Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
It's still better than Hocus Pocus.
Sure. There's a lot of stuff in Jingle All the Way where, like, I don't know if I'm laughing at it or with it, but, like, I don't care. I also love Sinbad.
You know what? At least I don't feel like everything is happening on a fucking soundstage. I just can't. Part of what I can't deal with Hocus Pocus, and I haven't seen that in a million years either, but I'm not going to. I'm just not going to do it. But like, I'm sorry. I know people like that movie. I just don't want to. Okay, I like.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say what I was about to say because I don't want anyone to make me watch that.
But
movie.
Hocus Pocus is also a movie that people grew up with and
exactly.
And love now.
But like, a lot of my problem with that movie is just production value.
Hocus Pocus is the Halloween Christmas Story. I think Christmas Story is a better movie, but it's just been like merchandised the shit out of, and like everyone's like bought into being fed. Like everyone loves this movie, and I mean, I like A Christmas Story.
Just like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, except I think everybody always loved that. We were just finally merchandising the shit out of it, but
yeah, people look past the.
Well, maybe we always merchandise the shit out of it before Christmas.
We did, and it's very merchandisable. But anyway, let me go back to a thing I was going to say about Home Alone, which is how was that never a cartoon show?
I don't.
That
know.
feels like it should have been a cartoon show,
yeah.
where like the parents go to space.
It's like they're above it. There's like 6 movies, 7 movies, something like that.
Like 5 or 6, but the parents go on vacation in space, and they leave the kid for like a year, and he's by himself all that time. And every week the Wet Bandits show up and try to break into that house. Every week.
I saw 3 when it came out, and I thought that was the best one.
I don't know why I watched that. I did. And I remember being surprised that it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
It's not. I think it's still directed by John Hughes. I think John Hughes... I don't know if you know, John Hughes directs all 3 of them.
Weird.
Or at least directs the first 2. I think he directs the third one.
I didn't think the third even went to the theater.
I don't think it did either.
4 is definitely direct-to-video?
I'm pretty sure 3 is also direct-to-video.
I can't believe he directed that.
John Hughes in the 90s is a weird place.
Should I look this up?
He also did Flubber. Or he may have written Flubber.
Well, that's unfortunate.
He writes a lot of shitty scripts in the 90s. John Hughes doesn't have a good career after his heyday. Like, he has a steep drop-off.
I think still kind of thought of as a good Hollywood writer, but...
He has a steep drop-off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, but John Hughes didn't direct the first one.
I thought he directed... No, he wrote the first one. I think he writes 1, 2, and 3.
Do you know who directed it? Can you answer this trivia question?
Christopher Columbus, right?
Chris Columbus, that's exactly right.
Yeah, because he produced Jingle All the Way. Because Christopher Columbus...
really?
Yeah, because Chris Columbus is the most original person on the planet, so his production company is, 1482?
1492.
1492, that's his production company.
It is.
Yeah, so John Hughes didn't direct it, but I think he wrote through 3.
I'm looking it up. It is written by him. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I thought so.
But I'm pretty sure that was... Oh, no, it was theatrically released.
Okay.
That's
I didn't see it either, I don't believe.
97. It more than made its money back.
So he writes Home Alone and Career Opportunities, which is not a bad trick.
I've never heard of that. I'm just throwing my phone.
But listen to some of his 90s output. Dennis the Menace.
You know what? I knew that was him. Yeah.
Baby's Day Out.
That's unfortunate.
He did write Miracle on 34th Street, but I don't know how much they changed in that movie.
Adapted. It's not that different.
101 Dalmatians.
And it's not as good.
Flubber.
You know what? 101 Dalmatians is not the worst thing ever.
It's not.
It's not great.
It's not. Made in Manhattan. I think that's the last thing he writes.
Can we put a bet on this right now?
Sure.
I think...
Oh, and Beethoven second.
When we run out of live-action projects, I think they'll do it again.
You think they'll do 101 Dalmatians again?
I think Disney will remake the live-action 101 Dalmatians.
But they'll talk this time. Which is one of the problems with that first movie is they don't talk.
I liked the idea of trying that. I don't think it worked.
It makes all of the dog scenes boring.
Yeah, that's true. It's all representative.
Dogs running around.
You can't watch it without knowing that the original, at the very, very least, because you have to know, because it's all representative. It's like, oh, that character is supposed to be this character.
I also think they misrepresent kids in video games, but
that's fair. If they remade it, it would be a period piece. They take it back to.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that's what you do. And you're right. The dogs would probably talk. I'm really curious to see if they do that with Lady and the Tramp. When they do live act, because that's supposed to happen.
If it'll be period piece or Mind Day.
No, if they talk or not.
Oh, I'm sure they'll talk. That you can't make that movie without them talking.
Well,
it's a love story.
I wouldn't think so, but that's going to be awful, right?
I don't know.
But can they make that look good in CG?
We do have
trouble. Can they make that not look really awful?
As far as I'm aware, we still have trouble because this is why we did this. We did this with the lizard. We have trouble getting long mouths to match up. They could do it like Look Who's Talking. Now.
Oh, that would be
film
that would
dogs,
be terrible.
Dogs
no, they would not do it that way. I don't think. But I mean, like, because of course, they did Jungle Book, and that's only got one person in it. I just think when you've got more people in it, it's kind of harder. And also, that's you're able to like CG more of locations and things. Like, I know they shot a lot of that on location, or at least I think they did. But I mean, like, once you get in like a house and stuff, it's gonna be really hard to match the CG with the locales.
I think you'll be very bothered by it, and no one else will care. I think they'll be like, oh, it's Disney, it looks great, I love it.
The reason I don't know about that is because people complain about it all the time with cartoons mixed with live action.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it will look better than Garfield or whatever, but will it look that much better?
I mean, Jungle Book looks amazing.
Okay. I mean, I'm not watching it, so I.
I mean, like Jungle Book, like as a kid, I thought was boring.
Yeah.
Like I did not care about Jungle Book, and I was like, this is incredible.
Okay.
No, that movie completely turned me around on.
Well, I'll get off this topic because I've not seen that.
And none of this is a topic. We're just it's just preamble.
Well, yeah, it's not a pre-written topic.
Yeah.
I just mean topic is in. That's what we were talking about. Now I don't want to talk about it. May I go first today?
Yeah.
Would that be all right? Only to segue into a thing I wanted to talk about anyway.
Sure.
Because I mentioned that I had a couple of Christmas things. One of them is about Macaulay Culkin.
Okay.
So I'd like to go ahead and talk about that. Macaulay Culkin has been everywhere this year.
Yes.
He's not just been in a lot of internet shows that Eric and I happen to watch. He's been on EVGN, and he's been with Red Letter Media, and they've been really fun videos.
Yep.
He's great with that stuff. I wish he'd have his own channel. I think he'd be excellent at reviewing and commentaries and that kind of thing. I think he could have a second career doing that, just that shit. I think maybe he has a podcast, but like he should do that kind of stuff.
Does he have a podcast?
I'm not sure. He has a website. He has like a what do you call it? Like a dish of everyday life kind of website. It's like
that makes sense. He seems real like, and what I've always heard about him is that he's real like zen-y. Like he's just a real centered guy.
They do a lot of kind of like self-help articles, things of that.
That sounds like what I've heard about him.
That's the Rabbit Ears website that he keeps talking about. Okay. Well, he's also been on the talk show circuit this year.
Interesting.
He's been on Ellen, and he's been with several of the talk shows. And I think
Red Letter Media was on Ellen, kind of.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, not really, but anyway.
Birthday boy.
But he's
God, I'd love if they got them on.
But he did a hilarious publicity stunt that I wanted to mention.
Yeah?
That I think is classy in a weird way. I just think it's hysterical. He doesn't take himself too seriously. Mm-hmm. I've come to a place where I think Macaulay Culkin's really cool.
Did you see the short film he did a couple of years ago?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, he does a short film where he's like, I think he's just in like an Uber like the whole time. But like the slow reveal is that he is the grown-up version of himself from Home Alone. And he's just talking about like all the trauma he went through.
That's
and like it's like a 10-minute little short film. It made the rounds 2 or 3 years ago.
There were a lot of. I'm sorry, I've lost this article. I'm trying to find it now. Oh, okay, I got it. Anyway, there were a lot of horror stories over the years about how Macaulay Culkin was like one of the worst experiences growing up.
Yeah.
With being a child star.
That's what I always heard.
Like It's true that to a degree that like his father was like verbally and maybe more abusive,
and they were controlling his money, and I heard they spent a lot of it.
Yeah, I heard that too. He's in control of it now and is still very wealthy, as far as I understand, because he was worth $50 million at one point, and I think he still is worth quite a bit. But anyway, but. Like, there were stories about drugs and alcohol and that kind of thing, but I don't think it got him the way people thought he did. I think he pulled out of that really fast, and I think he's a relatively normal guy now.
Yeah.
From all appearances.
Yeah.
And I think getting out of the acting game for as long as he did helped him to get to that place, and he just seems real centered and like a...
Do you think we're going to see him come back to movies, or do you think he's done with that?
I think he'll keep doing the occasional independent thing, but I don't think you'll necessarily see him doing anything major, except he's suddenly in the public eye again, and he might start getting offered things. And if he gets offered something that he really wants to do, that just sounds fun, that he might do it. I think it would be kind of a coup if Macaulay Culkin started playing in adult and children's films. Like, I think he could have a second career
as like a dad or
coming
something,
back and
like
just doing kids movies.
Yeah.
I think that would be really smart. Because I think he would thrive there better than he would anywhere if he did kind of a Jack Black kind of thing. I think that'd be really cool for him. Macaulay Culkin did a thing on his website where... And it ended, I think, like Christmas Eve, and so he's already picked it now. Have you heard about this?
No.
This is hilarious. Macaulay Culkin let his fans choose his new middle name.
Does he not have a middle name?
No, he's changed it legally. He had a middle name, and his original middle name...
Is it Gargoyle?
No.
Is his new middle name Gargoyle?
I will tell you what it is in a second. It was Carson originally.
Okay.
And he has changed it now. And he narrowed it down to 5. And
now, was it like a wide vote where, like, you can pick any name, and these are the 5 names that got the most votes?
I'm not sure how they narrowed it down.
Okay. Or is it just, these are the 5 I'm thinking
He talked about it on Fallon or something.
Okay.
And he just said they narrowed it down, and then you could go vote. And at that time, anybody could go vote. And I think it was like... it was a lot. It was a lot of people voted. Like the winner won by like 60,000. Like a lot of people voted.
Okay.
I'll tell you what the finalists were because they're hilarious, and then I'll tell you what he landed on.
Okay.
But the finalists were Shark Week.
Macaulay Shark Week cloaking him. Oh man, that should have won.
You say that. It gets better. Kieran. Which was suggested by his brother, Kieran. He put that in the list.
Is he the one that's in... I think... Is Kieran the one that's in...
He's the one with the glasses in Home Alone, I think. I'm not sure if I'm right about that. Or was that a cousin? Maybe that isn't... No, I think that is... It's his brother playing a cousin.
Okay, because one of the Culkins are in...
But I'm not sure if I'm right about that. I mean, that's the one.
One of the McCulkins are in... Scott Pilgrim.
Well, Culkins.
Is it?
It's Macaulay Culkin. Yeah.
I was right the first time that correct, but
that's all right.
One of the Culkins are in Scott Pilgrim.
This was my favorite. This is the one I wish that he'd gone with, but the one that they went with was the one I knew would win. I'll tell you about it last. But the McRib is back was one of them. Publicity stunt was one of them, and then
that's probably my least favorite.
And then the one that won was Macaulay Culkin.
His name is Macaulay Culkin.
Yep. He's got a fantastic sense of humor.
No, that's
I think
really
that's
funny.
so
and
great.
So his name now is legally Macaulay
Culkin.
That's really funny.
It's genius. I love it so much. But I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Did I ever tell you the thing that my friend has with Tommy Gunn in Rocky V? So Tommy Gunn in Rocky V, his like name, because you know like boxers have like names like Battle of Jack or Jack the Devil.
No, we have talked about this.
Yeah. Where he's Tommy the Machine Gun. My friend was like, no, his name should be Tommy Gunn. Tommy Gun.
Yeah, why would he... Tommy the Machine Gun, you're like, why did they name him Tommy? That's stupid. It's already a kind of gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're two different guns.
It's almost like Stallone didn't know that there was a Tommy gun. Well, a Tommy gun.
Yeah. I think that is above everything the reason that's the worst Rocky movie. That has to be it, right? That's the reason. It's not the street fight at the end.
The street fight at the end is the best part of the movie. My ring's outside. Sue me.
But
money. What are you gonna sue him for?
But AVGN, he did an AVGN video with James Rolfe where they did the Home Alone games. And he pretended to be the pizza boy from Home Alone. And so he's wearing like this vacant expression the entire video. And if it's the only time you've seen Macaulay Culkin in a long time, you'd think, oh, he looks really bad. No, they made him up to look awful. Because you've other videos, he looks really normal. Yeah. And everybody's been talking about how he has a baby face, and he still looks like he always looks.
His eyes are a little sunken in, but that might just be the Culkins, because his brother Scott Pilgrim kind of has those eyes too. I think it's just genetic.
But he looks... I mean, this sounds horrible. He looks like a normal... He doesn't look like a guy that was on drugs for years or anything. He looks fine. Yeah.
Well, I mean, also that guy in Chronicle, he also has eyes like that.
He looks... No, but except DeHaan has it 10 times worse. DeHaan looks like he's smoking something every day.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for him. Yeah. Because it's difficult for him to get... Well, especially now, after Amazing Spider-Man. I think he's having a hard time getting good roles. Yeah, and Valerian. And he's great in Valerian.
I love him in Valerian.
I don't care what anybody says. I think he's great in that. But anyway, but check him out in that, and then they do a James and Mike Mondays with him where they play the Page Master game. And they can't get past the first level, and it's really funny.
I watched the one where they talked about Big Trouble in Little China, and that was really good.
I did too, yeah.
I really like that one.
And then he
and you've never seen that movie, have you? Oh, okay.
And he also went over and did some stuff with Red Letter Media, and those are fun too. And they reviewed Home Alone 5, I think.
My favorite is that before he started making the rounds, by 2 weeks, he's on Red Letter Media on a video without Jay, Mike, or Rich Evans. It's the bald guy, who might be the one who's Macaulay Culkin's friend.
Yeah, because he had been there before, right?
Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah.
Not as far as I know.
Okay.
He just does a review on hackers. Just out of nowhere, Macaulay Culkin is talking about hackers. A month ago.
Oh, okay.
Just before he starts being everywhere, he shows up on Red Letter Media and does a review of hackers, and it's great.
Had they had celebrity guests before?
Max Landis.
Oh, you told me that.
They had Max Landis, who is friends with Macaulay Culkin, and
interesting.
And he's the one that I first heard Macaulay Culkin is the chillest guy.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin will let you talk and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because he didn't when he did the. I wish he'd done a Half in the Bag with them. Yeah. That would have been fantastic to hear him talk about something new.
Yeah.
But when they did the Best or the Worst, he was with them watching them.
Yeah.
He didn't watch them on his own. He was laying back in a chair. It's really cool.
And they've had a couple of semi-celebrities, people who make bad movies. Okay. Some of those people. Sure. Like the guy who made Samurai Cop. I think they had him on. They have a couple of people that are recurring guests that you've never heard of them.
Yeah.
And you would only have ever heard of them if you watch Red Letter Media. But they've made a bunch of movies.
But from now on, I will only refer to him as Macaulay Culkin.
That's really funny.
It's fantastic. Eric, what would you like to talk about?
Boy, what do I want to talk about?
Well, I don't know. You should consult the almighty Oracle.
Well, we were talking about a bunch of different YouTube people. I'll talk about a kind of a podcast thing.
Sure.
It's a Batman thing, but it's jumping off of something from a podcast. So I'm not. So there's a podcast called We Hate Movies, which I used to like a lot, and then got really tired of, because they're one of these podcasts, so I think these podcasts should honestly be illegal. They're podcasts of failed comedians who have made a career podcasting. And they go and they do live podcast shows and things like that. And there's a lot of these who are comedians that you never heard of. They never made a big break. They start doing a podcast. Now they're famous.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. But they are really funny. I started getting tired. They started doing this Ronald Reagan joke, and what they would do is they'd come up with a bit, and it would be in every single podcast. And I just got tired of it. And then Trump got elected, and they could not go an episode without talking about Trump. And I'm like, look, I don't like the guy either. I'm not here to hear about Trump. I'm here to hear you make fun of this movie.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stopped listening to them. Someone messaged me and was like, they just did Batman and Robin. You've got to listen to Batman and Robin. It's really funny. It is very funny. But in that, they talk about a thing that drives me up the wall, which is Bruce Wayne could just fix Gotham. He just used his money. Have you heard this? Have you heard this as a criticism of Batman as a character?
I have, yeah.
Okay. So first of all, starting as far back in the 70s, we always go out of our way to mention that Bruce Wayne has lots of charitable organizations that he set up, and there's funding, and he's helping the community. But also, I hate this criticism, more than anything else, because it's also often coupled now, in more recent times, is also often coupled with he's a rich guy who goes out and beats poor crazy people, or poor mentally challenged people.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make this very simple and clear. That's not an interesting story. That's not a Batman story if he just funds the community. Like, you read Batman to see a guy punch bad guys and solve crimes.
But I think the argument on the other side is, we're not saying that's the story we want to see. We're saying that you have to come up with something less contrived. That's not a conceit they're going with.
I guess, but then you're not. Then don't be looking at Batman things. Like, yeah. I'm sorry.
I think it's a really easy thing. It's a really argument to negate. I think it's very simple. With something like Batman and Robin, it's harder because that's already almost like a parody of Batman. We're already in almost a 60s Batman place. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to go for realistic or psychologically based arguments. Mm-hmm. Even though there's kind of an attempt at doing some Batman psychology in that movie, even though it is what it is, right? With the speech Alfred has and stuff. Mm. But anyway, but with a more serious Batman thing anyway. Because you could say that with 60s Batman, but that's part of the joke, is that, well, yes, he could do that, and he doesn't realize that he actually kind of runs the city all by himself, and he's basically a totalitarian dictator, and he refuses to act like that, and so you can feel safe because you know he would never do that, and that's what Return of the King Crusaders is about, because suddenly he loses his inhibitions and he does that, and it's very funny. The argument with a more serious Batman thing against, well, he should just fix all of Gotham with his money, is that he's trying to lead by example, and that defeats the purpose.
And also, like,
you can't change hearts and minds by throwing money at it.
Also,
are you going to get rid of crime with your money? Does that get rid of crime?
Yeah.
I don't understand exactly what that means. I think it falls apart at the seams, just fundamentally. The more I'm thinking about it, where I'm like, but what does that mean? Fix it?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, so like,
or are they saying that, like,
I mean,
if the idea is they're poor and that's why they're bad, and that's an oversimplification.
Well, and there's also
just throw money at them and they won't be like that.
Okay. And there's also, I mean, I guess I could say fair criticism. Yeah. Not fair because it's not real. Like, it's the fantasy of the thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So one of the things that's super heightened in most Batman things, that Bruce Wayne probably could fix with his money is Arkham Asylum.
Yes, that is a problem.
Yeah, but it's not for me. Like, that's the Batman universe. That's what it is. I keep seeing this popping up where like and like more and more as if it's like a legitimate criticism. Where it's like, well, if Bruce Wayne really cared, he wouldn't dress up like a bat at night and go out and fight. It's like that Batman has to be crazy. Only a crazy person would dress up like a bat and go punch people. I'm like, yeah, because the universe where everyone else is dressing up, like, it's not crazy.
Or are we singling him out?
Yeah.
And why do we
he's the realistic one.
And why do we single Superman out as the only powerful superhero, and so we can't relate to him? There's all these other heroes that are almost as powerful or more powerful that nobody says, oh man, you can't relate to Superman, he's too powerful. I think it's the same problem.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of thinking it's people thinking too far into it, I guess, where at some point you have some gimmies with Batman, right? There's a conceit that you have to run with to a degree. But what I was going to say is, I think that comes from the thinking of, okay, well, I like Batman because he's more realistic and anyone could be him. So
which is line of thinking I don't agree
with. I'm supposed to find him more relatable than anybody else, isn't it a problem if he acts too much like a one-percenter? And so I guess that's where
which is a problem with a lot of which are film and fantasy characters that we have from the past century.
Sure.
I don't think it's a problem. It's a problem that they're now facing. Is people being like, well, because it used to be escapism. Boy, I wish I was this rich person going on all these adventures. And now it's, how dare you make a movie about a rich person?
Yeah.
Because I'm not that.
And also because we're afraid that you're but it's not fair to say that that's the only reason, and I'm not saying I agree with this. It's a fundamental difference in philosophies. You have a lot of people who think that like, I agree with this to varying degrees, but it's a case-by-case thing, like everything with me, right? We're like, you have people who think that money and power must corrupt no matter what. It's that simple. It's that straight-laced, right? And so, again, part of the reason that people can't relate to Superman is they're like, well, he wouldn't do that. If he had that much power, that's not how you'd use it.
But the fantasy is that it doesn't.
Yeah, and like, that's supposed to give us some hope, because it's like, well, maybe a person could do that, right?
You and I had a lot of discussions about how money changed people, and like,
yes,
even if we sit here and say,
and
if I had $100 million, I'd be exactly the same. No, we wouldn't.
No, we wouldn't.
We just wouldn't.
Certainly not. Also, most of the time, Batman is eccentric, and he's not just like the rest of us. And one of the things that's interesting about Batman is that he would not have reacted the same way to his parents' death, probably, at least later on, if he didn't have the resources he has. And so one of the things that's interesting about it is that his money is a good thing for him and a bad thing for him. You know what I mean? Like those can be problematic. And so I don't think the moral of Batman, or if there is one, is if you were super rich and your parents died, you could try to solve it. You could solve everybody's problems. Like, I don't think that's the point of it.
No, I don't think so either.
But I think the people that are bothered by it, it's like you're setting the wrong example with the story, where like you're making the uber rich person the guy who makes the self-sacrifice, and they're, I think, jumping to a conclusion saying that, and maybe this happens, but saying that every Batman story is saying that this is how rich people are. And that's what bothers them, is that, well, rich people are selfless.
Well,
and they say, but rich people aren't selfless. And these are blanket statements that I can't get on board with. Case by case.
And this is a thing that evolves over Batman's career, because when you go back to Golden Age Batman stuff, he's not super rich. He's a well-to-do, about-town kind of a person. He's not what he is now. As like Batman is inflated with inflation. In a period where a larger percentage of the population is the same level of white collar. That's important to know. Yeah. I also hate the idea that I hate the argument like Batman is a rich white dude who goes around beating up poor mentally handicapped people. Because one, super oversimplification, but also you're the same we made all of the villains have to be able to be put into a psychological box.
Yeah.
Because people were like, well, what are they? Like they can't just be crazy. They can't just be evil. They have to be something. And so we started psychologically trying to analyze and break down these characters. It doesn't fucking matter. They're bad guys. They're evil. Batman has to stop them. It's very simple.
Yeah,
and you can tell interesting stories.
Also, not all poor people.
Well,
or start necessarily from a poor
most of them are
place.
poor once they I don't think Two-Face has any money, but he started with money.
Well, yeah, he was the fucking DA.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And I don't know what Bane's situation is, but he seems to be doing all right for himself.
But I mean, he steals everything.
Mr. Freeze also probably starts with. I think a lot of them start pretty well off.
Yeah, well, Mr. Freeze is a
respected scientist.
Respected scientist. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly the term I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Harley Quinn was a psychologist. She had to have been making six figures.
Most of Mad Hatter's origins, he has a pretty good career. Scarecrow is a teacher.
The Riddler goes every place, but I mean, look at Riddler in the animated series. He was a software developer.
Yeah.
No, I don't buy that.
No, I don't either. It just annoys me. That was my topic.
Yeah, that's a great topic. Yeah, cool. I'm going to talk about Kevin Spacey.
Okay. I heard something happened with Kevin Spacey. No.
You know about it? 7 million views. It just came out, I think, a couple of days ago.
Okay, I saw something about something, but I didn't.
I'm going to show it to you. You guys will be able to hear the audio.
It's a 7-minute video. So 7 million views.
7 million views. It's a 3-minute video. I want to show it to you.
Okay.
Because I want to see your immediate reaction to it.
Okay.
And this is weird because you've never seen House of Cards, but you understand the fourth wall breaking thing with House of Cards.
Well, because you explained to me about the most recent season, yes.
Yeah, but you've never actually seen him do it.
No.
Okay, so it will be weird.
Doing that?
He's doing that.
Okay.
So I will set this up briefly and then show it to you. And you guys will be able to hear the audio. You won't be able to see the video. So feel free to skip past this or go actually watch it. But I didn't show this to Eric ahead of time because I wanted to see his reaction to it. This is bizarre. I don't know how to respond to it.
Okay.
It's very strange.
Okay.
This is, as far as I know, the first time he's done anything public where he's responded to anything.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since he got since that statement that he made that everyone got pissed off about, where he's like, right now I'm choosing to live as a gay man, and a lot of people in the homosexual community were like, do not use us as a shield for what you've done.
Yeah,
that's the last time I heard from him.
He tries to use this. He's in character as Frank Underwood.
Okay.
And of course, he doesn't use the full name because he could get sued for that. Probably, I guess, I don't know. But he doesn't do that. But it's in character. I feel like it's almost borderline anyway. I guess the show's off the air now. But he responds to the allegations and what they do in the show to his character simultaneously as the same as one character. It's very strange. I don't know what to make of it.
Okay.
I'm gonna show it to you. It's very strange. A lot of people are saying he's lost it. He's going off the deep end. And when you see him, he doesn't look good.
Okay.
Like, this has taken a toll on him.
Okay. I mean, it would.
But his whole thing is like,
he went from one of the most successful and beloved actors,
of course,
to
completely ousted.
Yeah.
He's disgraced now completely. Will
Persona
probably never work again.
Probably not.
And I would imagine, especially because he's been like the town pariah, and like, I don't mean to use that like he probably didn't do some of the things that people are saying that he did. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
he definitely did a lot of the things. And people started coming out and telling stories about, like, I was told on set, like don't go near Kevin Spacey. He preys on young men and things like. This was a known thing around Hollywood.
But he was like the second Bill Cosby. And so he's taken the biggest brunt of it because he started this whole wave of like people being found out, or you know people coming forward.
It's him and Weinstein.
I was sexually harassed, or Weinstein was I think before him, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he's the first.
No, you're absolutely right.
I think he's the fir's actor. Weinstein was the
post Cosby.
Yeah.
And then it's happened with Les Moonves now, and
it's happened to a lot of people.
Yeah. But Les Moonves is the I think the next big like major CEO
industry
person, yeah. But yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you this.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of it.
Okay.
I am casting it right now.
Oh, it's gonna be on the TV.
Yeah.
I thought you just hold your phone in front of me.
No,
we live in the future now.
Yeah, we should.
That's not. That's not
cast it for you. All right, here we go.
God, it's so outdated to watch videos on your phone. Let me be frank.
Yeah.
I know what you want. Oh, sure, they may have tried to separate us, but what we have is too strong, it's too powerful. I mean, after all, we shared everything, you and I. I told you my deepest, darkest secrets. I showed you exactly what people are capable of. I shocked you with my honesty, but mostly I challenged you and made you think. And you trusted me, even though you knew you shouldn't. So we're not done, no matter what anyone says. And besides, I know what you want. You want me back. Of course, some believed everything and have just been waiting with bated breath to hear me confess it all. They're just dying to have me declare that everything said is true and that I got what I deserved. Wouldn't that be easy? If it was all so simple. Only you and I both know it's never that simple, not in politics and not in life. But you wouldn't believe the worst without evidence, would you? You wouldn't rush to judgments without facts, would you? Did you? No, not you. You're smarter than that. Anyway, all this presumption made for such an unsatisfying ending. And to think it could have been such a memorable send-off. I mean, if you and I have learned nothing else these past years, it's that in life and art, nothing should be off the table. We weren't afraid, not of what we said, and not of what we did, and we're still not afraid. Because I can promise you this. If I didn't pay the price for the things we both know I did do, I'm certainly not going to pay the price for the things I didn't do. Oh, of course, they're going to say I'm being disrespectful, not playing by the rules, like I ever played by anyone's rules before. I never did. And you loved it. Anyhow, despite all the poppycock, the animosity, the headlines, the impeachment without a trial, despite everything, Despite even my own death, I feel surprisingly good. And my confidence grows each day that soon enough you will know the full truth. Wait a minute. Now that I think of it, you never actually saw me die, did you? Conclusions can be so deceiving. Miss me.
That feels like a teaser.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
So it's very interesting.
He's talking as his character and himself at the same time.
Yeah. Or all the stuff about him is supposed to be double entendre.
Yeah. And it's weird how much stuff with the House of Cards lines up with his personal life, because the thing is, you haven't watched the show. The impeachment without a trial happens, but he's also talking about what society did to him. But then, what in real life is he talking about, or is he? I think in places it's just about Frank Underwood, or it's just about him. More often, just about Frank Underwood, because what is he talking about when he says if they couldn't get me for the things that I did? What is that in his real life? But he's also talking about people judging him without knowing all the facts, and so is he seeing himself as Frank Underwood or not?
Well, I think so. I don't think he's lost his mind. I don't think he's crazy. That is too well scripted and
it's really well
to
written.
performance.
Regardless of what I think of the man at this point or whatever, yeah.
That's not a man that's lost his mind. That's that's a production.
Well, it is a production, certainly.
And Kevin Spacey's always felt kind of crazy, and he's just I assume
theatrical.
That's yeah, and
certainly.
I assume that's what that character feels like.
Well, yeah.
I don't think he's lost his mind. I think he's trying to play. I think he thinks he was unfairly judged in the court of in the court of public opinion. Which, and as far as I'm aware, there haven't been any trials against him. No one's actually.
No, certainly not. What I get from that is that he thinks that at the very least he should have been allowed to complete the show.
Yeah. But I also think that he thinks.
I see why we didn't let that happen, especially because I don't agree with that because there were stories of things on that set. I think.
And I also think he thinks that because people like this are complicated, people who do things like this are complicated. I think he thinks.
Well, I do agree with that when he's when he's basically you don't have the whole truth. You know what I mean? If only it were that easy. I agree with that. I wish I knew his side of the story, but I'm not. But if any of the things that were said about him are true, he shouldn't have stayed on the set of that show.
So, celebrity is complicated.
Yeah.
But
I'm not going to pretend to know things I don't know.
And that's the thing, is he's not 100% wrong when he says that we've all tried him in our minds without the facts. He's not completely wrong. We all just listen to people talk about him and be like, well, that's awful, that's horrible. And I could see in his mind, even if he did every single thing we ever heard about, I could see in his mind, as someone that does things like that, thinking, well, yeah, but I was never tried. As far as you know, I haven't actually committed any crimes. I don't think that's true, but someone that did what the impression I've gotten of what he did for decades,
yeah,
I think he thinks he can get away with it. I think he thinks that he can convince people that even if he did do the...
And that does seem like a power corruption thing, right?
Well, and he kind of makes it clear, well, I guess it's hard because it's the character and it's him.
That's what I'm having a tough
But
time
it's...
with.
Maybe I did do some of the things that they've said I've done. Maybe I do have some darkness in me, but isn't that what you like about me?
I mean, that's what we like about the character.
And a lot of roles he plays is the darkness he brings to it.
Yeah, that's right.
And maybe he's trying to make a case
And
well, you don't think
like,
that darkness comes from nowhere, right?
Exactly.
You wanted me to be like this.
It seems like he's making, also, because he says art, and it seems like he's also making that case of, for the sake of art, it's worth whatever it needed to get there.
Mm.
And I mean, that's dangerous thinking, I think, to some degree. But like, but he does seem to be saying, like, you're right, that like, if I hadn't done some of the things I've done, you wouldn't have had this character. And don't you love this character? Wasn't it worth it? And at the very least, shouldn't I have been allowed to finish that last season?
Well, and I don't know. It's very weird because
I want to know if he saw it. I want to know if he saw season 6. I cannot tell from that if he saw it. Like
he said, the way he says unsatisfactory or whatever he said, makes it sound like
he might have just heard about it though. Like because all the only facts he needs about that season to say all the stuff he says is that A, they killed him off screen, which duh, and B, the ending's not an ending. He doesn't have to know anything else to write what he wrote.
Assuming he wrote that.
I am assuming he wrote that.
I think he's trying to play an argument of, even if you didn't know, you always knew I was like this. This is what you wanted me to be. You saw the darkness in me and you liked it.
Yeah. But also the art is worth it.
Yeah. I think that video's a power play and I don't think it's going to work.
No, it's not going to work at all.
Like,
I am surprised by the thumbs.
Up?
The thumbs are interesting, yeah. Because
Okay.
it's not as many down as you would think.
Okay, because it's got 7.3 million. I would assume a lot of people watch it because they're curious. I assume most people don't agree. Unless they're House of Cards fans that just want a good final season.
Yeah, and that could be a lot of these thumbs, so this doesn't tell us anything. But I'll mention it anyway. The thumbs down are 49,000, the thumbs ups are 162,000. It has 2/3 more thumbs ups than downs, and that is surprising.
Wow. That is legitimately surprising.
That is surprising. Because I mean, he's not been just blackballed. He's been like publicly humiliated, and like he's in that Cosby place where like if his name comes up, there's gonna be a sexual harassment joke.
I watched Fred Claus a couple of days before Christmas with some friends, and I was making jokes while we were watching that.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna work, right? There's no way it can work.
I think it's possible, given how well that video's doing, that he could do something independent on his own.
And it's not House of Cards.
Well, I bet, I want to think that's the last time he'll pretend to play that character. Surely he's not going to keep coming back and doing that kind of thing. And I would be very surprised if Netflix didn't make a statement about this. I've not looked into it. I'll be really surprised if Netflix doesn't come out against him and be like, he shouldn't have done that.
Oh no, my assumption is that if he does something, even if it's independent, like he'll do like an independent film that is his conclusion. And it just will be legally distinct enough that it's not.
But he'll continue to do the Georgia accent.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's why we get. That's all about coming back to that character.
No, it is.
Not even seeing that show. There's things that where I'm like, okay, so.
Well, I've told you.
This is what the way he puts the ring on and.
Oh yes, yeah. I expect him to do the knock.
I don't know the knock.
So the ring, he knocks twice whenever he leaves a room on a table. And all the way through season 6, or I guess just in the first episode, Claire is haunted by the knock. Just all the way through the first episode, you just keep hearing the knock.
Okay. No, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I mean, that whole show was his life for 5 years. Like,
do you ever
and
have
he
this?
probably considers it the role of his career. I certainly do.
Do you ever have this where, like, on the one hand, I just want everyone to ignore this and for it to go away. Like, on almost like a moral level, I'm like, nah, I'm pretty sure he did all the things that, like we shouldn't be giving this guy the time of day. Like, just let him live out his life.
Isn't it fucking irritating how well written it is?
It is pretty well written.
That drives me insane.
But on the other hand, there's like...
It's so interesting and I could dissect it all day, and you're right, I feel like I should not give it the time of day.
But on the other hand, there's like, almost out of body, like morbidly curious, where I'm like, I want to see how this plays out. I'm real faster to see what happens after this.
Yeah, me too. It's very difficult to respond to.
Yeah. He's put on some weight.
I know, and his skin is kind of flushed.
He's probably been stress eating.
Yeah.
But
well, he's gone back and forth with his weight.
I guess he has. But I always thought that was usually like role based, but maybe not.
Well, maybe so. I don't know. Eric, why don't you throw us another topic at us?
All right, I will.
Oh, real quick, I should probably say thanks to the guy who sent me that, because I didn't know about it. It was Chewbacca's lover who asked us to talk about that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. I think this guy.
We got about 10 minutes left. Do you have like a 4 or 5 minute one, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
And then I can throw one out like that too.
How?
Or I guess I started. So if this takes 10 minutes, that's fine. Go ahead.
How far ahead do you think you should be planning for franchises? So
Yeah.
So right now, I feel like there's a filmmaking dichotomy of we want them to make the best film they can. We want them to be focusing on the best film they can. But they're always they have to be thinking franchises at this point. Like that's what you're thinking when you make everything. How far ahead should you be planning? Because like right now, I don't think there's any forethought in any of the James Bond films. Every James Bond film is isolated. We're going to make the best movie we can possibly make right now, and we have no idea what comes next. And it shows that they don't know where they're going and what they're doing.
And that's only really a problem with James Bond at this point because they've made it more serialized than it was before. Like,
when they started that was Casino Royale.
Usually you can get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was supposed to be...
That franchise should be able to get away with that.
That was supposed to be a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what I'm saying is, the way they rebooted it, it kind of can't, because it rebooted like Batman rebooted. Like, it is more of an ongoing thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's part of what I hate about Spectre, is they just ignored everything they set up in the first two movies.
Yeah.
But there was another franchise, I can't, so I wrote this down tonight, and I was specifically thinking about a different franchise. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I was specifically thinking about, like,
well, the obligatory example for us that should probably come up in this, at least briefly, is of course the Thanos thing. Is like, well, if you're going to do that, maybe seed it better. Like, I think the answer to your question is it depends on what you're seeding. I think it is perfectly acceptable and probably a good idea creatively to have a loose idea in the back of your mind, and I don't mean like sequel bait stuff, but like... And sequel baiting can be fine if you know you're probably going to make more movies and stuff. Again, case by case, it just depends on what you're doing. It sucks to end on a cliffhanger if you end up not getting to make more or whatever. If it's like a real honest-God cliffhanger. It would have been weird if Dark Knight didn't get another movie. I don't love Rises, but it would have been strange to end that movie like that and never have another movie. At the end of the day, I think I might have been more satisfied, but that's in hindsight. You know what I mean?
No, because it would all be the glory of what could have been.
Right, and you could just be thinking about, you'd have your headcanon.
All the cool places.
All the things it could have gone. Yeah, you could have done. But I think it's a good idea to have... It's sort of that writing toward an ending thing, but the ending can always change, but just on a grander scale, right? So, like, have an idea in the back of your mind of what you might do next time, instead of having, zero notions whatsoever. But if you're going to seed things and act like you have a master plan, you better fucking have a plan. If you're going to do something like Thanos, where they pretty clearly didn't really know what they were going to do with that, you should have more forethought than that. There should be more of a plan. And like the Thanos thing ultimately is not terrible. Obviously, I have issues with it, but at the very, very least, even if you like what's done in Infinity War and you think that he's a sympathetic antagonist, like a lot of people do, he's not the character they set up at the end of Avengers. It's just clear that they didn't know what they were going to do with that character role.
Well, and that retrospectively is pretty much everything the Marvel Universe sees.
It's just that if all roads are leading there, maybe have more of a roadmap. And it can change if it needs to, but just seed things better. So it just depends on whether or not you're actually seeding things. And, are you making an ongoing story, or are you making isolated stories that connect to each other?
Sure. But even if you're not making, like something that you're seeding, if you want it to be something where each thing builds on the previous thing, you can, I guess, do it in that we're like, well, I'm just going to make the best thing I can make, and then the next person will make the best thing they can make. But, like, Netflix shows are like this, too.
Yeah.
Like, Netflix notoriously, Season 2s for all the seasons are, like, the weakest season. It really feels like they have no idea what they're going to do after their first story.
So you're not even talking about just retconning and things like that. You're talking about...
I'm talking about how much should you actually have planned out if you're intending to make something that might keep going?
Well, honestly,
how much forethought should you have when you're making something that could be a franchise?
But is the problem with, say, like Jessica Jones Season 2 that Season 1 didn't know where it was going? I don't think so.
No.
I don't agree with that.
But the problem with Season 2 is they clearly have no ideas. They did not know what they planned to do for the next... So when they got to it, they just had nothing.
Okay, so
that's what it seems like. Daredevil season 2 isn't exactly that, but I do feel like they had no plans for season 2.
This is an easy, but I don't think that's the problem. I think it's that they just, well, Daredevil's maybe a different case because it was entirely different people suddenly working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jessica Jones, I think was the same showrunner. Maybe I'm wrong.
It is the same showrunner, but I think it's the same writers' room for Daredevil. It's just different showrunner.
This is really easy to say as an armchair critic, not being there with the business side of it, and like, well, this is performing, so we need to make more. But if you don't have a story yet, wait till you do. That's the answer. And
Netflix can do that. They don't, or they don't do it enough.
Yeah, they can. I think maybe they have learned something from the Marvel shows. I'd like to think that. But and apparently they're starting to cancel some other shows too that aren't Marvel. They're starting to cancel some stuff. I don't know what, but I saw a headline today. Netflix canceling more shows. But like, I'm not sure because I believe in art through adversity, and I think that you can. I love writing myself into a corner. My best ideas for things have come when I had no idea what the fuck I was going to do. If you were like playing by your own rules, and because some of my issue with Jessica Jones season 2 wasn't like straight up story retconning so much as just characters seeming to be kind of out of character and doing some flashback stuff that didn't seem to match with stuff we had later on. It didn't feel like they were completely playing by their own rules. It's like you have the toys you bought that are in the toy box that you're stuck with. You know, it's like you can't suddenly in Toy Story make Rex the dinosaur purple. He's always been green. You're stuck with green. Like play by your own rules, and that's I don't know. I think you can like write in a corner and have no idea where you're going. It's difficult to explain why some of those things aren't as creative as they could be. Or you look at some of the CW stuff. You look at like Arrow, where it's like I do think they did too much of the stuff they really wanted to do and bloated that first season and then the second season. They should have saved some characters back. But I also am saying that in hindsight. I'm saying that retroactively because usually I don't give people that advice. Usually I'm like, if you have a great idea and it fits and it works, use it. Don't be scared to put it in there. But
that's usually talking
creative.
about like a book, right? Like this is serialized television. You're assuming, maybe you're assuming, there's a chance you will have to keep going, right? Like maybe you should save
in the case of something like Arrow, there's a chance you might have to keep going forever.
Yeah. But like with James Bond at the end of Spectre, we send him off with the girl. He quits. We're on our third like page 1 rewrite script. Maybe it's like a major studio film. You should know where the fuck he's going, right? But then,
or at least have an idea. It could change.
But then,
but the other thing you have to remember is that it's not always the same people.
No. But then. Yeah, but
sometimes somebody else is going to have to latch onto that and then keep going, and you just have to play by the rules that are set.
But the people in charge should have like maybe an idea. I don't know, but then you want each piece, especially with that franchise where each thing is kind of its own thing. Like you want the next person to come in and do their thing,
right?
I don't know. I feel like
just work with the rules of improv.
Yeah.
But
they don't do it well.
That's exactly right. But that's the problem.
And I think a lot of movies don't do it well.
Well, if I were a studio, I would be mandating, like, creative integrity things before I would be mandating, like disparate elements that get different people into a movie theater that might not all fit together. You know what I mean? Like, if I looked at, I can't think of a good example. If I looked at something like what you're talking about, where it's like we send off the girl at the end, and then we just throw that away real quick in the beginning of the next one. I might be like
Austin Powers 2, where it's like, oh, she's dead. I guess I'm gonna be a secret agent again.
Like and people are gonna think I'm naive for saying this, but this does sometimes mess with box office. Like if you're acting like you're an ongoing series that's going to keep building on itself and you've got some story integrity, and that's part of what's getting people in the theater. People went to Skyfall because they heard it was good. They heard it was a smarter movie. If that's the case, then I as a studio head might look at that movie and be like, that's fucking lame. You should do it like that. Why is it that those aren't the kinds of things that become mandates from studios? You know what I mean? Why isn't it like, well, it's because creative writers aren't running the studios.
Well, I also think specifically in superhero movies, no one knows what to do with the second movie, so almost every second movie is, do I want to continue being the superhero so that we can just do the same movie again but different? Really? Well, like it's a second origin story. Even Dark Knight is that to a degree. Where like, it's all about him questioning whether he wants to be Batman. I'm like, maybe have him have a couple adventures before he really questions, do I want to keep doing this? Spider-Man 2.
It works in Dark Knight though because you get the sense that he's been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
He's actually been on the streets and doing shit.
I'm kind of expecting it to be Black Panther 2. Like, I'm sure it will be well done. I'm not assuming that it won't be well done. I kind of think the second story for Black Panther will unfortunately
Do I want to be king?
Do I want to be king?
Yeah. They'll probably so.
I feel like, I don't know.
But it's not like on the face of it that can't still work.
No, but it feels played out in superhero films. And like, I'm sure it'll be great.
But it feels played out until somebody does it well, like Dark Knight.
Yeah, like Dark Knight.
I can't complain about that.
No. But, I don't know. I feel like we wouldn't run into those stories as often if it just doesn't ever seem like anybody has an idea of what their next movie is going to be. And maybe you don't have to, but I feel like we keep falling into a lot of the same things because we didn't think ahead.
Why is it so hard, though, when you're dealing with adaptations of something that is serialized in the first place?
I don't know.
If you have to, on a month-to-month basis, figure out, hey, what the fuck happens next, and this character's going to go on for 50 years or whatever, why is it that hard to do in a second movie? Why is it so hard for X-Men to keep its continuity straight? Like, I don't understand this.
No, and this is the thing that bothers me specifically with superhero movies, where I'm like, what do you mean you're having trouble making 3 films? These characters have been published for 50 years.
Now, to be fair, like, I think some of the time what we should do is make them is make superhero movies like check-in films, where it's like more time passes and more things have happened, and we learn about adventures that happened in between. But we think that for the same reason that, and they're not all bad, and I think we have kind of cracked the code to some degree with origin movies. I do not as often say, oh God, does it have to be origin again?
That's true.
More often, origins are working. Like Spider-Verse was an origin, and I was excited that it was an origin.
Even Ant-Man's an origin that feels kind of different.
Yeah, sure. But like usually with something like Miles Morales, I would be like, just throw us in, but like he has a good origin. And they actually did the comic book origin, and so I was excited to see that, and it worked pretty well on that. But like, I think for the same reason that we for a long time, and maybe to some degree still have that, well, it's got to be an origin movie because audiences are stupid and they need to have their hands held, and they're not gonna like understand right away if we just throw you in. I think we do that with sequels too, where it's like it's got to be the very next thing that happens. And
well, one of the things that annoys me with the Raimi trilogy is it moves in real time, but nothing has fucking happened in between.
Yeah.
Everyone's exactly where we left them. No supervillains have come up in between, and it's annoying in the third one. He's like, where do these guys keep coming from? Like, one every like 3 years is not really that.
The worst example I've ever seen of this, and I didn't even remember the theater, but I just reviewed it, is Kick-Ass Duel.
Yeah.
Like, you remember?
You told me.
I was like, oh my God, we're like 3 years have passed and nothing has happened.
But it's also like 2 weeks later.
They also act like it's just after the first movie. It makes no fucking sense.
I just thought about something that does this, and I can't think of what it is. But no, I just...
You know what's cool about Batman Forever? And we do this with... Yeah, I'm going to use this as a positive example. It did become kind of a formula where you have the villain that was already created and the one that in the origin that we see happen. But it's kind of nice that at the beginning of Batman Forever, you get the sense that he's probably fought a bunch of other villains because it's just him going about his day doing a regular, I gotta go stop Two-Face
this time. It's not the first time he's faced Two-Face.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
I do too. I've always liked that. And as a kid, I really liked in when we go to Arkham and Batman and Robin, like, there's the Riddler suit and there's the Two-Face suit. I don't know why it's there. He's dead, but why can't more sequels feel like John Wick 2? Why can't more sequels be like, well, we're just going to do more. We'll just expand this universe, and we'll do... Like, why is it...
Just keep building it, because we're not being...
And they didn't have a plan. John Wick 2 was one of the best examples of, like... Well, we didn't think ahead, but once they started knowing it was a franchise, they clearly are.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, we know what happens in John Wick 5. Like, we don't have all the details, but we could give you a paragraph, this is what happens.
You don't go back to John Wick and feel like it doesn't fit.
And that's all I want from... Like, I don't think you have to, like, meticulously plot out, like, a film series.
I don't think you should.
But like a paragraph. Like, this is generally what I think will happen in this. And when you get there, if it changes, but have an idea of where you're going. Especially when you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars.
Like, we're... and this is just partly because, like, from my own experience, like, as a writer, I don't always do that, and so I don't feel like, even with big movies, just don't seed things. And
certainly don't seed things if you don't have a plan.
That's all yeah, like, I think you could just make a straight-up standalone movie and not seed anything and then build on it. But, like, if you're dropping hints, I mean, like, don't be like Lost. You know what I mean? Like, if you're dropping hints, you should have at least some kind of an idea.
No, John Wick 2 seeds things, and I assume that they know what they're doing in John Wick 3.
You know what that's the same thing as? That is tantamount to, and I know I bring this up all the time, but that is tantamount to the retroactive villain who plotted out everything that happens from the very beginning. It's exactly that. Where it's like, no, that clearly...
Which we kind of treat Thanos like.
That guy clearly could not have guessed exactly what was going to happen with all the things that happened. You just wrote a thing, and then you lazily said, well, you did the Maman thing with Spawn. Well, he
happened exactly as I intended.
He knew that, if I put a baseball here, and this guy tripped on it, then everything... That doesn't happen with Maman. Then everything, after that would work out exactly how I would want it to. And that's how we sometimes... treat it where we kind of treat audiences like they're stupid. With seeding things that we had no idea where we were going with them. So, yeah. So at the very least, don't make an ongoing narrative if you're not making an ongoing narrative.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. This is the wrong doing in Indiana Jones, where every adventure is a standalone thing, and like next time we'll figure out what we're gonna do. But if you're treating it like an ongoing story, I feel like you should have an idea of where that story is going.
Yeah.
It can change, but have an idea.
No, I agree with that. And especially if you're seeing mythology. Like, mythology stuff, you should know what that is. Again, at least to some degree.
You should have an idea of what it means.
No, that's a really good topic.
Or you're Joss Whedon.
Right.
And you see mythology and mostly remember it. But it never really all makes sense.
Like, maybe you should, take write notes for yourself, or occasionally go back and watch your own shows.
Or, let other writers work out the mythology, because you're not great at it.
When you have people on board that are better at it than you are, like Greenwald, would be better at some of that stuff than Whedon probably. But
so would Drew Goddard and who's the guy that show ran season 1 of Daredevil and directed Pacific Rim 2.
Yeah, I know who that is. It's just not coming to me right.
But that guy.
DeKnight.
Yeah, Stephen DeKnight. Stephen DeKnight I also think probably would have been able to do that a little bit better.
Well, of course. Yeah. And Daredevil season 2 wouldn't have looked like that if DeKnight was showing the hand. Even if he had done the hand, because we did see a bunch of hand stuff, he knew where he had an idea of where that stuff was going.
Pacific Rim Uprising was not a fair trade.
No, it wasn't. And I know that didn't do terrible at the box office.
It's fine. Like, I like it well enough.
I wonder if he was kind of kicking himself. If he was kind of wishing he hadn't done that, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. It's not.
I don't know why.
Not what Daredevil season 2 would have been.
I'm not sure why that's the project you went to.
As your theatrical debut as a director.
Maybe just because that's what he was offered and he really wanted to get to direct something. Maybe it didn't matter what it was, right?
Yeah. And we don't know what the behind the scenes on that movie are, because it feels like a pilot.
Yeah. Well, he's a TV guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes Abrams stuff kind of feels like pilots.
Or like other things that you've seen before.
More often than that. Well, we are all out of time, folks. Thanks a lot for watching. Eric and I will be back with you once again, of course, in a couple of weeks. I wanted to do a couple of announcements real quick that I meant to do at the beginning, and I forgot, so I'm going to do them now.
I distracted you with the addendum to my topic from last week.
That was fun.
Which was kind of like me starting with the topic.
We had real estate. I'll do it here. But I wanted to mention that Eric and I, despite our original plans, are already on hiatus from the omnibus. We were not able to do it when we initially had planned it, and then...
we weren't able to do it on our fallback date either.
No, that fell through, which sucks. And then after that, well, sort of sucks. As I often do, I spread myself too thin, and I kind of ended up needing that time with Rewind, and I had material with Rewind. So anyway, the channel is for for all intents and purposes kind of on hiatus overall. Morphin Mania is going to start on Monday. Is going to start after the first of the year, on the first of the year, and then I will still be doing Captain Logan show, and I'll be back with new rewinds pretty soon. So like there will be stuff on the channel. But as far as me and Eric doing stuff together, Eric and I are gonna do a couple 3 extra things that we're talking about, and there may be a stray new movie review here and there, depending on how.
I mean, it's January. I don't know if anything's coming out.
Depending on how long. Well, there are a couple things that are out right now that I want to go see. So I don't know if I'm gonna save those for the next omnibus because it's gonna be like 5 or 6 weeks. But anyway. So you will see Eric probably some, but we're not going to go ahead and do another omnibus until February because my wife's going to be out of town a couple of different weeks in January, and I can't make an omnibus taking care of a baby. That makes that impossible. So December was nobody's fault, and January is my fault. So that's what's going on there. But don't worry, we'll be back to regular omnibuses again in February. We also decided it wasn't that big of a deal because we did the major stuff we really wanted to do. It was pretty much just big movies we wanted to talk about, and we've gotten those knocked out now. But there are a couple of other kind of little things that I might talk about later. I might just hang on to. I wanted to mention that we're going to have a new Patreon tier starting in January. We're gonna bring back the $15 tier, and it's gonna be another request tier, and this time it's gonna be for topics of conversation on 3 possible videos. And feel free, if you join this tier, to let us know what show you would like it to be on, but understand if it ends up having to land on a different show. So we're not going to let people be in charge of that, but you can make a request and we'll put it there if we can. So Eric and I are going to take requests for for After Dark. So if you have anything that we usually wouldn't talk about on the channel that you really want to ask for, we may do it here. And we'll we're gonna do these monthly, so they'll just land wherever it makes sense for them to land. But we're gonna do some things here, some things on the Captain Logan show, and some things on the letters pages. So that will be a new request here. I'm also going to be dropping the number of requests I'm taking per month to 6 for now. And actually, I say per month. It's going to be per omnibus now. So I'm going to leave it at the $20 tier. I was going to up it, but I guess the trade-off I'm making is they're still going to be $20, but I'm not going to do them every month. I need more time to do Rewind. It has been impossible to work on that show, which is why I made the request this month, the 12 Days of Rewind. Obviously, I can't do something like the 12 Days of Rewind every month, or my head would explode. So what we're going to do now is I'm gonna open this new $15 request here just for topics, because some people I think want to do that even more than movie requests. So and that for now I'm gonna make open-ended because it should be pretty easy to get topics thrown into some different shows. So I'm gonna make that open-ended for now. If we get a whole ton of that, I'll cap it off somewhere. We'll see how it goes. I may have to cap that off too. I don't know yet. But I'm gonna start doing the request here at 6. And so I'll do 3 in omnibus. So every other omnibus you get 1, and I'm gonna do 3 in omnibus. And then if there's something that you really wanted to see requested outside of that and you couldn't get in the 6, because we have 12 right now and there's other people that want to join that tier, it's been pretty popular. I'm behind a month. I don't have time to do them as often. You can still do a donation through PayPal and send me an email, and I will get to it eventually. It just won't necessarily be the month that you requested. So that's what we're doing for the request tiers right now. All of this could change depending on how it goes. And I really appreciate how popular the request tier is, but realistically, it can't be the only thing I'm doing, which is what it turned into, which is the reason that after the summer, you didn't see a lot of rewinds, because I was kind of stuck doing it. And also, I'm still keeping the $50 request tier for Superhero Rewind. I'm going to be putting those out more often, so I will catch up relatively quickly. And it won't be a big deal to have some of those stacking, because I'm going to be doing enough of them that you will get to them. Theoretically, that's my plan. But I have to give up some requests in order to do Rewind. So hopefully that all comes out in the wash. But some of it's things that more people are interested in seeing, and some of it is I want to be writing more. I kind of prefer writing reviews than, or I want a good mix. I mean, I like doing it off the cuff, but I don't want that to be the only way I'm doing it. I want to do the written stuff anyway. So, anyway, that is all the news that's fit to print. If you have any questions, send me a message. Let me know what your question is. And do you have anything else?
No.
Sorry, I know I was long-winded, but I just had to get through all that stuff. So, anyway. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We will see you again very soon with more videos on Geekvolution. I am Captain Logan.
All right.
Bye, everybody.